So there's not a word of any amount of coverage for YCS Sydney. Well, don't worry. I'm here to tell you about the stories that I've heard from day one. Make sure the 34%, God, I say that all the gosh darn time, and now everybody's like, Robbie, no wonder why. Just smash the crap out of this. Just smash it already, all right? So we can climb up the 110,000 ladder here. Now, a lot of the accountability and stories that I hear on this channel are a lot of things that I hear across the community. So I actually have a friend that went to YCS Sydney, actually qualified for day 2. I'm going to talk about stories from them. Some of the stories that I have read online from players, just to kind of bring you up to speed for things, because there's no coverage for this anywhere. Oh my gosh. Okay, so YCS Sydney. So from what I was filled in on, it was 1,000 players, I believe. My friend said he wasn't too sure on that, but it felt like that there were 1,000 players in that room, which actually kind of interesting to hear that many players, showed up for this. Well, I mean, it is the only YCS that Sydney or Australia will actually probably get at this point. So that is very, very important. Now, I think the most interesting things about this YCS were, I guess, a lot of tier players. And that's really saying something, because, this format hasn't shifted at all. Like, if you were expecting some, like, crazy thing here, no. I read a report from a Code Talker player, and they were talking about how they played just infinite, so many tier players there. And they even had a duelist thank them for not playing, tier. So, honestly, it's actually pretty cool when you hear about these sorts of stories out here where duelists get to actually challenge themselves and play other decks in a tournament like this. Because if you're performing well with these sorts of decks, then people are going to, they're going to be happy. They're going to enjoy Rogue. And that's what you get with these sorts of things. All right, so that's good. Now, so a lot of tier in the room. There really is not any ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, for the thumbnail of this video, you saw the King of the Skull Servant, and yes, that was Sir Landlot. For those of you that have not seen them, they do a lot of cool picture anime, or a lot of cool pictures for a lot of, like, I think one of my favorite ones from them was the Solemn anime, or the little Solemn scene where they would just have Solemn going around and just smacking people with the newspaper. So you'd, like, have Master Hyperion get bonked. It was a hilarious event, but they went dressed up as King of the Skull Servants out here, or actually just Skull Servant, for this event. And it was actually, I can tell from a lot of the stories that I heard that it was a really good experience to have somebody walking around in cosplay, putting smiles on people's faces. And that is awesome, man. You don't see a lot of cosplay. I mean, at the bigger events, you will, but you have to remember, Yu-Gi-Oh! Events are a time that players will come together and just have fun. It is a celebration of the game. We always talk about that these these events are, I mean, you have the people that go for the event, you have people that go to see people, you have people that just go to, trade, get new cards, but the best part about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the community, all right? And it's interesting to say that, but when you look at this, like, you can tell that overall the generalized experience for this was awesome. So I'm actually very, very excited to say that this was actually cool. My friend that actually made day 2 was filling me in on a lot of this info. Was like, oh yeah, he looked like he was having a blast all weekend. So I'll leave a link down below so you can check that out as well. Now, what else really happened here? Outside of tier being a massive, massive monster, I heard a story about Hungry Burger versus Jesse Cotton in, I think it was round 1. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, I have to look back into this, but the duelist was wearing, like, what was it, like a clown hat or something like that? And it's a whole very interesting little concoction, but from what I heard, the duelist was so excited to get the chance to play against Jesse. He was like, oh, I can't wait to make, like, a YouTube video playing this. But evidently they're playing Hungry Burger, I guess, from what I could put together. So a clown playing Hungry Burger, definitely an interesting story, but I actually can't wait to see that YouTube video talking about that experience, because that's actually awesome. All right, you gotta You gotta love, once again, when the community gets to have a good time like this, alright? Somebody out here is playing Hungry Burger. Somebody out here is playing Code Talkers, aiming for the top cut of the event, alright? That's what it's like to see these rogue players. I mean, you even have King of the School servants out here showing up. These duelists that are passionate about these things. It doesn't matter how crap the initial format actually is, because players are taking the decks that they love to these events. Now, whether or not they're going to be successful against the odds, well, that's a story for another real story. So now let's bring up to what I have been told here by my friend who qualified for day 2. They're playing Bytials Albaz, so basically standard Albaz good stuff. You use the Bytials stuff to kind of capitalize. I will say that the biggest thing that I was hearing was the Bytials cards were just an absolute, carry. Who would have guessed that, man? That's the same thing that I've heard all format here is Bytials good. Opponent not have good time when Magna Nuts comes down and scrapes monster off a floor. Like, you all know this. Like, this is nothing crazily new. But actually, to his story, I heard that a lot more people were taken aback by the Albaz cards, which is actually, I don't know if it's just because Australia doesn't have a lot of YCSs or things like that, but to hear that a lot more people were just like, really falling of Albaz? Like, has Mary Jade not been out that long? Have we not had that many interactions out here? That's what I'm kind of curious about out here was, why are they so shocked about that? But no, the Bytials cards out here was definitely very powerful. So what else really was there to talk about? I think we've pretty much talked about everything. I mean, generalized predictions for day 2. Do keep in mind that from Eastern Standard Time here, I do believe that Australia at this point is 14 hours ahead of me. So by the time that this video will be posting, well, you guess what? They'll probably be very deep or heading into day 2 here. So everything that you've heard in this video has really just been stories and things that I've read and very, very, very hype things. Top Cut is honestly, the event's probably going to be ran by tier. Like, as much as I want to hope for something different, tier has been too much of a powerhouse this format. All right, and especially since from what I've heard from a lot of players, tier, yeah, it's going to be a very tier-filled event. Now, Sunday afternoon, when we start to see these results turn over here, and we start to see what Top Cut was, when things start populating here, we'll hopefully hear something out of this. Obviously, since there's no coverage, it's going to be a lot harder to put together and see, but I'm expecting massive tier. I'm expecting Sprite and Flounder will probably be within your highest represented seeds, but I think what's going to be most interesting here is the overall potential for Rogue for this event. Because of where we are sitting in the world right now, I'm not to say that, Australia doesn't have good players. No. I mean, you have Jesse Cotton that's participating in this event. That's a name that you're probably going to see in your Top Cut as well. But I am very curious to know, what rogue is going to be most popular in this particular region for this event. Because we've seen all sorts of rogue, populate. And we probably will see Swordsoul. Swordsoul's gotten a new swing on life here. I can't really count Flunder as a rogue deck, like I said, but you're definitely going to see that. Plunder Patrol has been succeeding as of late as well on the regional circuit, which is very interesting as well. Those are actually 2 picks, and then of course, like I just said, Albaz Bytials good stuff, basically fusion good stuff, Mirror Jade interruptions. The whole kit and caboodle here. I expect to probably see some sort of turnover for that, but highest represented deck, tier, follow up Flounder, Sprite, and then of course, your rogue, contenders. But it would be very cool to see maybe Medolce show back up like we saw out of Europe, Earth Machine as well. But I'm not too familiar with the regional variation here is for some of the rogue picks, but we'll have to wait and see. But my question is what do you expect to see out of the Top Cut for YCS Sydney, Australia. Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and of course I will see your beautiful faces back here later on the day, and I'll do as best as I can to try to put together everything I can for this event for everybody, but it's going to be a lot of hearsay. Yeah, no shocker there. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.